freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round 3 recap for this week's Tour Championship. Helping me to break it all down, Greg DuCharme is here. Greg, thank you for your patience.
Well, Rick, that's what we do. We are going to break down this tournament no matter when we have to do it. So thank you for all your contributions. I'm happy to be here at any time.
HQ was dealing with what seemed to be 150 college football games that are going on right now. So
it's a big week. I get it.
It's a big week, but I was able to talk golf for a few minutes, and we are going to talk golf for longer right now. We are 18 holes away from crowning a FedEx Cup champion. The outcome seems fairly determined, but that is not going to stop us from getting you every nook and cranny here. And Greg, that starts as always with the rounds of the day. And these are positional moves that these guys are making, trying to find something for maybe later in the fall, potentially into next year. We'll start with Viktor Hovland, who shot a 6 under 65. And while, Greg, it has been better recently for Viktor, still struggling a little bit in the consistency department. His rounds this week are 69, 71, 65, but that 6 under round does tie for low round on Saturday.
Yeah, look, this is an important week for Viktor Hovland, not because he has a chance to defend his title, right? You come in with a completely different attitude this week, but it's an opportunity, like you said, to improve your position. He's now 13th on tour. Where you finish in this tournament is where you finish for the year on the PGA Tour. So you have an opportunity to create a pretty darn good season. And I think there are a lot of really positive takeaways, especially from a round like this. Viktor Hovland was very aggressive with his iron play, but at the same time, he didn't really short side himself very often. It was very solid in the ball striking category. And these are the kind of things, as Viktor goes into the offseason, that he can look back to as some of the positives, some of the things that are trending in the right direction. He can go in knowing that what he's working on is the right thing. And hopefully this offseason, as opposed to last offseason, we're not entering a world of confusion. We're entering a world of clarity.
Oh, wow, Greg, that was a great line.
Wow, yeah, was it? I don't even know what I said.
Yeah, even better. Perfect. All right, Viktor Hovland, 6 under 65, moves him up into a tie for 13th. And I like what you said there, which is basically how you finish in this event. That's your season rank. That's where you finished the season. And Shane Lowry is on the verge of having his best finish ever. And that is also thanks to 3 rounds in the 60s, highlighted by the 65 that he shot here on Saturday. A birdie streak on 13, 14, and 15, but those weren't his only birdies of the day. He had 7 in total. And now Lowry moves up to solo 8th, which would be by far his best FedEx Cup finish.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the guy who missed the FedEx Cup playoffs last year, right? I mean, what a turnaround from 1 year to the next. All of a sudden, you go from missing the playoffs to inside the top 10 on the PGA Tour the next year. That's a huge leap and a very important leap. So there's, again, very similar to Viktor Hovland. He did a lot of his work with his iron play in this round. But it seemed like things finally kind of came together for him, right? When he missed fairways, he seemed to always be in the fairway bunker, which is more like the fairway than the rough. I think he hit it in like 4 fairway bunkers and wasn't up against the lip. So very interesting. He gave himself a ton of opportunities by hitting 16 of 18 greens. He was second for the day in strokes gained approach. And when you put those circles on the card, it means you're filling it up with the putter as well. He led the day in strokes gained putting.
2024 will be a year where he matched his career high in victories. That was 1, the Zurich Classic. He will have his career high in top 10s. He will have his career best made cuts. He will have made the most money he has ever made. And Shane Lowry, who's been around for a long time, Greg, is having a career year.
It's really cool to see. And you know what? When I've watched Shane Lowry, it doesn't seem a whole lot different from last year.
I agree.
That's the strange thing. That's the value of the Zurich Classic, the value of a win.
Yeah.
Because it just shoots you up that leaderboard. And then he's also had a couple of days, not really a long run, but a couple of days of exceptional putting, which happened at the PGA Championship. It happened this week, happened on a couple of other occasions over the summer, which really vaulted him into contention in some really big tournaments. I think Shane Lowry leaves this season quite happy. Hopefully he can finish it off with a good run tomorrow.
Yeah, he didn't waste like his best 12 rounds of the year. It wasn't one round in 12 different tournaments. It was like 3 rounds in 4 different tournaments.
Yes, and one was the PGA, one was the Open.
Right. Yeah.
One's of the Tour Championship.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, very, very well timed. Well, those were the 266s. There were a couple of those were the 265s. There were a couple of 66s, but those guys are a lot closer to the top of the leaderboard. So I'm going to hold on to them. We're going to do an early break and then circle back on everything that's going on the top of the board. So Josh, hit it, and we'll talk to you on the other side.
Yep, they're wrapping up the summer. And now we're looking forward to kicking it with superstars. Now that's CBS Sports Sunday. We'll see you on September 8th.
And we're back. Firstly, Greg, I want to point out that there are 6 guys. Actually, wow. So of the top 7 golfers, 6 of them are Americans. And 6 of them are either in or very likely to be on the President's Cup team.
Yes. And how do we feel about this President's Cup team? It doesn't feel, for some reason, it doesn't feel great. But there has definitely been dominance in American golf lately. So it's a really good point. And of course, the Americans are rather top heavy. Scottie Scheffler, Collin Morikawa, Sahith, Xander Schauffele, Wyndham Clark, they all made that team on points.
Right.
So that has never been in question. It's a matter of the other guys who's going to get selected on this team that kind of gives us the question.
The honorable mention playing spoiler in there is Aussie Adam Scott. So well done, Adam. He is in there at 15 under par, a tie for 5th. Let's start with Wyndham Clark. 3 rounds this week, 66, 67, 67, 68. This was, as far as Wyndham Clark goes, the most boring round of golf we might have seen him play all year long. He had 0 bogeys. He had 3 birdies and 15 pars. That is it. Wyndham Clark has been all over the yard, not only this week, but throughout 2024. Goes out there and plays a nice solid 3 under round, Greg.
Yeah, it's completely bizarre. It's something we talked about on Monday with both Wyndham Clark and Sam Burns. You know, they have this ability to fill it up on the greens. Now, Wyndham didn't do it in round 3. He has in rounds 1 and 2. But with the greens being really firm, I don't think this is played quite as difficult as we expected it to. You can get the ball to stop close to the hole if you're in the fairway. But the expectation was you were going to have to make birdies with the putter. That's what Wyndham Clark does so well. And this week has been really a putting exhibition. Now, today, the good news is he was able to clean up some of those really big misses, clean up some of the double bogeys, and play a steady round of golf. It was almost eerie. But the good stuff that we've seen from Wyndham, unfortunately, has just come with some bad stuff as well in those rounds. Today, we didn't see quite as much good, but we also didn't see the bad. I'd take that overall as a positive for Wyndham.
Yeah, so quick math here. He had 15 pars today. He had 17 total the first 2 rounds. So he leads the field in eagles with 2 of them. He's made 14 birdies, but he's also made 5 bogeys and a double this week. It's been all over the place. Xander Schauffele had his 2nd round this week in the 70s. A very disappointing Thursday, 70, and now a 71 even par around East Lake that started off slow, Greg, and didn't get much better. Bogeys on 1 and 4, so he was 2 over by the time he got to the 5th hole. He did bounce back with a birdie on 5 and then just a birdie on 15, and that's it. I will have to go back and look at this, but I cannot imagine many of these rounds exist. Xander Schauffele lost, not a ton, but he lost in all 4 major strokes gained categories. I am going to assume He has not done that this year.
I believe that's right. Now, in the opening round of this tournament, Rick, he lost off the tee, approach, and putting. So I looked through rickrungood.com for the last time he lost in off the tee, approach, and putting. He did it at the Olympics in round 4. But if you don't count that, you go just PGA Tour events. It was the 2023 Century Tournament of Champions. Wow. I would venture to guess that's by round, right? I would venture to guess it's a lot longer for all of them. You're probably back in 2022, which is just incredible. I mean, you go through these, it's a really fun thing to look at because in every round, something works. It's the putter. He drives it great. He has a great iron day. And then maybe he'll occasionally lose in some of the other areas, but it's not often. And the interesting thing is there are times when we often look at this by event, and he plays so many solid events. You'd think, well, he's not going to lose strokes in every category. But also, I mean, he could sneak in a bad round here or there. I'm sure it's happened. That was my mindset. And it just doesn't. It just doesn't happen. He is remarkably consistent. Unfortunately, this week, he has not had his best stuff off the tee. And on a golf course with some pretty generous fairways, where it's really important to be in the fairway, Xander put himself in a trouble position. And he has not been able to attack this golf course at all. He's been playing defense all week long.
I just ran to the database and ran a quick query here. I have Xander Schauffele, the last time he lost strokes in all 4 major categories was the 2021 BMW Championship. So almost 3 days, 3 years and 3 days ago.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. For one round of golf.
And he has not done it a lot. So he's got I have 800 rounds on Xander Schauffele. So he hasn't done it in over 3 years, and he's done it 10 times, and a lot of them were very early on in his career.
He's just remarkably complete, and there's always something that saves him. And this streak, he shoots even par today. It was a bad round of golf, and I think Xander would admit that. But he still has never shot an over par round at East Lake in his entire career. And now it's a different golf course. It's just remarkable what he's been able to do, despite a poor day today.
Well, he is in at 16 under par, which is 10 shots off the lead currently of Scottie Scheffler. Sahith Theegala had a very interesting day. First off, let's just talk the numbers. 67, 66, 66 for his week. A double on number 3, which we'll talk about, but his back 9 was splendid. 6 birdies over his last 7 holes. He comes in 30, and he currently sits in a solo 3rd position. The only thing that is keeping him from being even closer to the top of the board, Greg, is what happened on the 3rd hole, which he drove it into the fairway bunker, hit his approach shot to left of the green, just short left of the green, and then called a penalty on himself for touching the sand in the bunker. And after the round, he gave a very clear description of what happened. He said, "I didn't feel anything, but I'm fairly certain I saw sand move when I moved my club back." And he said he was, quote, in the 90+% sure that it happened. So he called it on himself.
Which is the right thing to do. And we've seen this movie before. The last thing you want to do, well, I mean, first of all, you want this to be honest. You want it to be right. You don't want to go to sleep at night wondering if you got away with one, right? That's not how these players want to go about it. Fortunately, Sahith is not one of those. And it was an honorable decision. It was the right thing. He probably would have gotten away with it if he didn't do that. I don't know
Yeah.
If they would have caught it and gone in on the Super HD. I saw the replay. It didn't look like, I'm not really sure what he saw.
Either do I. Like, did a gust of wind blow some sand? I mean, yeah, we saw. I'm sure we saw the same thing. I thought maybe the heel of his club, because of the way the sand was. He said it was a really awkward lie because it pitched into the bunker, kind of rolled up the face, and then rolled back near the pitch mark.
Well, yeah, right on the front side of it.
Right. So it was kind of awkward. And I thought maybe his heel would have, the heel of the club would have touched something, but it didn't. It didn't look like that at all.
You would think it'd be less. Like that's a great lie in a bunker. It's a little awkward. You don't practice it, but the entire back of the ball is exposed. There's no. It should be less likely that something like that happens. So there must have been a clump or something. I'll tell you what, I didn't see it, but good on him for taking 90% and taking a hit for it, right? Because he's unsure of it too. He didn't feel it. Just
he said our intuition as golfers is usually correct, and I think I did it, so I called it.
And now this makes a big deal. This is a big deal as far as where he is in relation to Scottie Scheffler, right? 7 to 9. It's a pretty big difference. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem like it. It likely won't mean anything, but you could go shoot 7 under tomorrow. Scottie shoots even. Okay, things get pretty interesting. Things get pretty tight. You're not going to go shoot 9 under.
Well, it's also a potentially multi-million-dollar penalty that he called on himself. So if he doesn't call it, he's in at 19 under. He's 2 behind Colin in second. Second is worth $12.5 million. Third is worth $7.5 million. So that's $5 million right there. Okay. Or he would have a bigger cushion on fourth. He would have a 3-shot cushion on fourth. The drop from third to fourth is $1.5 million. So, good on you, Sahith. Good on you, dude.
The cool thing is right now, it would not affect his position.
I hope it does not.
I hope it does not too. It would be unbelievable if 2 shots in this tournament did not affect his position.
I'm going to say
it'd be hard to imagine.
I'm going to say ball don't lie. The golf gods made up for it with the heater that he came in with.
So maybe it's made up already. It was an incredible back 9. I mean, all those birdies, right? What did he make? 7 birdies?
7 and 8 holes, yeah.
The longest putt he made on the back 9 was 13 feet. He flushed it on that back 9. Kind of made a silly bogey. So he was really impressive, and I'm sure he'll sleep well tonight, coming in 30 and feeling like he did the right thing.
I'm excited for his 2025. He's one of these guys. He got that very early win at Fortinet in the fall last year. Seems to be getting better every year. It's going to be cool to see what he does.
I'm excited for his President's Cup.
Yeah, that's going to be cool too. He is going to embrace that. They're going to be rolling 100 deep with that family. It's going to be sick.
Yeah. And he has, he made that team. He's got a chance to play a real significant part, and that can make a huge difference for his confidence in 2025.
Yeah, we've seen that from a lot of guys. Colin Morikawa having the best week out of anybody. We'll get to the raw score leaderboard here in a second. But Colin Morikawa is seemingly doing the unthinkable. Now he's running into Scottie Scheffler, but he is doing the unthinkable. 66, 63, 67. He closes his Saturday round with 3 birdies over his final 4. If you look at the stats for the week, Colin Morikawa is number 1 off the tee. He is number 2 on approach. He is number 1 around the green. He is 9th in putting. Still 5 shots behind Scottie Scheffler.
Started 6 back. Oh, I mean, you just watch him. He's playing so good and just can't make up any ground. It really is emblematic of the situation we talked about in the preview shows, getting ready for this tournament. It is just so hard to make up ground. And every time you make a little mistake, you miss a short putt at number 14, a 3-putt. I know it was from 60 feet, but you have a 6-footer for your second putt, and it ends up being a 3-putt. That's killer. The bogey at 7 is killer. Couple misses early on in that round as well. They're killer. And you start to get this feeling that you have to play perfect golf. And he's nearly doing it.
Yes.
But he's not making up any ground.
He's been nearly perfect.
Yes. There are a lot of years where he would head into tomorrow with the lead. A lot of years.
I had another thing I wanted to say about this. I think it did get the other thing that's a little demoralizing if I were somebody that was trying to chase down Scottie here. I think this gig did get down to 2 shots at one point.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
And just every time there's, it's the wave comes in, the wave comes out. Every time the wave comes in and you get close and you think, okay, now I can go on a run, you just lose the ground again. And it's just, it has got to be a little just defeating to have to deal with that. So this was 4 shots. He was 4 shots behind, right? Going into today, he shot a 67 and he's now 5 back.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. I mean, he shot 63 yesterday and it felt like he didn't make up anything. He started the week 6 back. He shoots 66, makes 6 birdies in a row, 63. Okay. And makes up 2 shots. He shoots 67 the next day, loses a shot. It's brutal. He had it within 2 after number 6. He got it to 18 under. That's when he made his first birdie. And Scottie had made a bogey at number 1. And it's just anytime you make a little mistake, it dashes your chances. Because the guy you're going up against may make a mistake, but he is not going to fold, right? It does not. We're talking about Scottie Scheffler now while we're talking about Colin Morikawa, because these two, you have to, right? That's what this is. Scottie's not going to stumble and make, 4 bogeys in 5 holes. Going to make 1, get upset, and make a birdie on the next hole. So it's just hard to make up ground. It feels impossible to make up ground.
It's really incredible. So the lead now for Scottie Scheffler is 5, thanks to another 66 that he shot today. And again, he bogeys 1. Sliver of hope just to be dashed with birdies on 7 and 8. 14, 16, 17, and 18, 3 in a row to end his day. To put this into perspective, the man who led and started this week at 10 under par in round 1 shot the best score of the day. In round 2, he shot the second best score of the day. And in round 3, he has shot the second best score of the day. So good luck beating this guy.
Yeah. I mean, you think about the way Colin played the last, let's take the last 5 holes, right? Colin is 3 under in the last 5 and loses a shot, right? The last 3, he plays the last 3, 2 under, he loses a shot to Scottie. Because all of a sudden the putts start going in. And this is just coming. There were 2 really big 2-shot swings that took this from being a little shaky to, oh yeah, this is who we're dealing with.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's number 7. Colin makes a bogey. I mean, it's the very next hole. Colin makes birdie at 6. Scottie doesn't. It's within 2. The very next hole, back to 4. And then Scottie birdies 8. And then 14, 16, 17, 18. He's relentless. And this wasn't a great driving day for him. He was in the rough a lot more. He didn't have all those wedge opportunities. Like it seems like throughout the week, if he's been inside 110 yards, he's got 6 feet for birdie. Just incredible. He didn't have as many of those opportunities. Felt like he was fighting coming from the rough a little bit, but he manages it so well. There's still no stressful pars. Even if he misses a green, it's like, oh, I'll putt it up there and 2-putt. You're playing against a robot. That's what it feels like. And then he gets hot at the end. Just impossible to beat.
5 shots ahead of second, 9 shots ahead of third, 15 shots ahead of 10th, 26 shots ahead of 30th. I just like looking because we don't see boards like this every week, right? It's just so funny to see.
Yeah, 30th is a real easy thing to go through, right? 26 ahead of 30th.
Let's
you know what this is what I'm really curious to see tomorrow. Scottie struggled with the first hole. He made bogey twice. The other day he made a 20-footer for par. He struggled with number 1. Collin Morikawa was in a situation like this at the Masters and talked about how he felt like he had to be perfect because Scottie was perfect, and it cost him in a big way. I'm very curious to see what Collin's strategy is tomorrow. Like, just go for the OWGR win. Don't worry about this lead if you're Collin. And you might end up getting this win, but just you're 1 ahead. Try to stay there. See if you can gain another shot. Make sure you finish second. Take home $12.5 million and an official World Golf Ranking win.
Yeah, speaking of the official World Golf Ranking win, that will go to the raw strokes winner. The OWGR does not care about the starting strokes. So we have that leaderboard. Josh is going to throw it up on the screen right now. And Collin Morikawa is leading in raw strokes this week, 196 of them. Scottie Scheffler won back at 197. Sahith is at 199, although the 2-stroke penalty he called on himself would have been a tie with Scottie for 197. And then Adam Scott and Wyndham Clark round out the top 5 in raw scoring. Greg, when you look at this, it is interesting to look through how good Collin's been, how good Scottie's been. It's interesting to see some other names down the board, like, Patrick Cantlay is in 22nd. Keegan Bradley is in dead last after his victory. Rory McIlroy is right in the middle. It is kind of interesting to look at it from this perspective as well.
I enjoy looking at it from this perspective. Because you see, there's Justin Thomas in a tie for 8th, and he's nowhere near Scottie Scheffler.
Right.
Now he'd be 9 back anyway. 9 back of Collin, but he's at 8 under, and Scottie's at 26 under.
He's right? 8. He's 8 instead of being 18 back.
yeah, 8, which is just insurmountable. 9 back, probably insurmountable as well. But it is interesting. It gives you an idea of how these guys have played. I think Wyndham Clark and Sam Burns have done exactly what we expected.
Yeah,
which has been nice to see. Collin has surprised me this week. Theegala has surprised me. And Adam Scott, I'm not surprised that he's having a good week. I'm just a little surprised at how he's doing it because he's scrambling his what off and putting like crazy. So it's been nice to see after a difficult putting weekend at the BMW.
Yeah. Wow. Really, really good stuff there. Yeah. Burns and Clark kind of did exactly what a lot of people thought they would do. Pendrith is up there as well. It's good to see. Viktor outside at 71 has played pretty well. Sung Jae. Yeah, it's a good board. I like it.
Yeah. And they have a good chance to move up even more tomorrow.
Speaking of tomorrow, they're going off early tomorrow. They moved tee times up, and I don't know if you know or if Josh knows how much they got moved up. I see the first tee time is 10:21. The last tee time is 1:05. So that is probably an hour.
I think it's an hour.
And that is because there is supposed to be an afternoon storm coming in. Is that what I saw?
Yeah. Allegedly.
Allegedly. I like that. Oh yeah, allegedly. Okay.
Right. Like they're just making it up.
Right.
But they moved the NBC broadcast up an hour. So I believe it was an hour. Those tee times were moved up.
Okay. Josh, do we have the odds? Are they worth? Yeah. Okay. Well, if you want to lay $1,800 to win 100, that is what you would have to do for Scottie Scheffler, who is minus 1,800 to win the Tour Championship. Though, if you want to sprinkle Collin Morikawa, 11-1. If you want to sprinkle some more and you think history is about to be made, every other golfer in the field is at least 270-1 or longer. This looks like a coronation to me, Greg.
This is a coronation. And it's a deserving one. It's cool to watch. You know, it's not the most exciting, dramatic event that you've ever seen. But just keep in mind, you're watching greatness. We don't get to see this very often. You think it's never going to stop and never going to go away, but this is one of the more special years that we've ever seen on the PGA Tour. And so enjoy it, because you're watching a clinic, and there have been very few golfers who have been able to accomplish and play the game the way that Scottie Scheffler has played the game.
Yeah. I hope he shoots a 59. It's just this is the way the season should end. Scottie Scheffler running away with it.
Yes. So I'm glad to see that. And there's been some frustration last week. This is like he's proving that he can win the big one. Hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully. Could you imagine?
if
he blows this one, man? Oh,
it would be pretty bad.
Yeah,
it would be pretty bad.
Very
I want Scottie to win the shadow leaderboard as well. That's what I would like to see him do.
It would really just, answer every question.
Delivered.
Yeah, signed, sealed, delivered. Exactly right. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. However it ends, we'll be here, and with the adjusted times, potentially an hour earlier. We'll just go as soon as we can after the putt drop. I will tell you, I have HQ again tomorrow after the round, so we'll see. We'll see. I guess there's no NFL games tomorrow, which is good.
Yes, it's almost like, well, if it's anything like today, it's like there's no delay. There's just
right.
We'll still be going on time as if they didn't move the tee times.
We will go as soon as possible within our control is when we will go. For now, big thanks to producer Josh, who does all the hard work behind the scenes. Greg DuCharme is available at The Real GFD. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.